This is Prime Television, your local station.
Good evening, I'm Kerryn Banks. Welcome to Prime News. The Department of Education is reassessing suspensions of students caught up in a drug scandal at Wollongong High School. The move follows police and school education department investigations into a Prime News report last night about alleged marijuana abuse at the school. The department says it will reinstate one of the 6 suspended students tomorrow, and negotiations are continuing with other parents, students and the school.
Wollongong High School is abuzz over the alleged drug raid earlier this week, which has seen several students suspended, others asked to leave. The school is under police investigation. One student's allegedly been dealing marijuana at the school, and the Department of Education has confirmed 2 others have also been suspended and 3 have left of their own accord. The students have mixed reactions about the scandal.
Well, my friend got suspended from the drug bust yesterday. All other schools have the same problem.
Yeah, but they're in every school.
It's not just what has been done and what hasn't been done, but some people are dobbing in other people. It's just suspicion and nothing can be proved, and they're just getting suspended out of suspicion, I think.
The Department of School Education says the disciplinary action was appropriate.
The principal has considered it and considered it serious enough to take suspension action and then begin a process, consultation with parents, and to refer the matter to the police, and so that's it now.
The students affected claimed they were victimised and told they had no future at the Performing Arts School.
Yeah, I just said to him that, like, I had nothing to do with it and I've been doing well this year, so you had no reason to throw me out, and he just didn't listen to it at all and just said I have to leave.
But now the department says the suspensions were never going to be lengthy. One student will be reinstated tomorrow and the other 5 are up for review.
That could be tomorrow, if that's appropriate, if that's the decision of the principal in consultation with the parents. Or it will be the time that's appropriate.
The department says all Illawarra students have access to drug education in their schools, and it will continue to tackle the growing problems of abuse. Brenda Cunningham, Prime News.
Police investigations are underway tonight following the discovery of a man's body at the base of a cliff near Austinmere a short while ago. Emergency crews rushed to the scene after a passerby spotted the body less than 2 hours ago. It's believed the man may have fallen 25 metres down the cliff onto the rocks below. The only access to the cliff is via the car park behind the Headlands Hotel at Austinmere. The man's name has not yet been released. Scientific squad detectives are examining the body. Police investigations into the man's death will continue into the night. Arson inquiries continue into a blaze that's caused thousands of dollars damage to the Hellenic Club at Fig Tree. The blaze has destroyed furniture and fittings in one of the public areas of the club.
Within minutes of extinguishing the blaze, fire investigators began their inquiries into its cause. The blaze has destroyed a large section of the club's dining room, the seat of the fire apparently near a window. Firemen have been forced to break their way into the building to fight the blaze, the heavily barricaded windows of the building preventing them from bringing hoses to bear on the outbreak. Firemen have searched through the debris looking for possible accelerants and evidence of the cause of the outbreak. Police and club officials called to the scene have also tried to piece together the circumstances leading to the fire.
So anything's possible, but as we say, at this stage we can't ascertain whether it started there or whether something inside the building started the fire.
Scientific squad detectives and crime scene investigators have returned to the scene to try to establish whether or not a break-in occurred before the blaze erupted. Investigations will continue. Police are seeking also any witnesses to the start of the fire. Terry Galloway, Prime News.
A 42-year-old man has escaped serious injury after the high-powered engine on his powerboat exploded, engulfing the ski boat in flames. The man was forced to jump overboard to escape the heat, leaving the $20,000 boat to burn on Swan Lake near Cudmera.
The explosion and fire, apparently sparked by a backfire in the massive V8 engine, has left the high-powered craft a burnt-out shell.
The boat was situated about a kilometre across the other side of the lake on the western side, and was well alight when we arrived here.
The driver of the boat, 42-year-old Bob Allen, has escaped serious injury.
Fortunately, one of the locals, Mr Rudd, attended there in his runabout and was able to rescue the person out there who had jumped from the boat at the time, unable to control the flames.
We went over and got a boat and went over and threw some buckets of water over the boat and put it out and towed it over here.
Swan Lake is a popular spot for water skiers. Mr Allen faces a repair bill estimated at more than $20,000 if the craft Kinky is to be relaunched. Nick Pedley, Prime News.
A Wollongong magistrate has set aside 4 days to take evidence against a Sydney man charged with the Valentine's Day slaying of a man at Windang. Magistrate Darryl Pearce has been told 23 witnesses will be called in committal proceedings against Timothy Hardy. The court's been told 30-year-old Glenn Osborne died of multiple stab wounds at the Oaklands Caravan Park at Windang. Hardy has pleaded not guilty to the charge. Mr Pearce has been told there is considerable scientific evidence collected at the scene of the alleged murder that will be presented at court. Hardy has not applied for bail. Committal proceedings will begin on May the 2nd. The days of your family doctor delivering your baby are on the way out. Illawarra general practitioners are bowing out of obstetrics, claiming they can't afford the medical defence cover. It costs GPs $5,500 to protect them from litigation. Doctors say it's no longer financially viable to deliver.
It's been 2 years since Dr Michael O'Halloran delivered a baby. He's one of dozens of GPs in the region who've bowed out of obstetrics because of a drastic increase in medical defence cover. Insurance has more than doubled in the last few years. It now costs doctors $5,500 for insurance. The reason, a hike in litigation cases being won by parents. But Dr O'Halloran says there's always a risk in giving birth.
Where there's been increased payouts for something that may have been just a normal complication of pregnancy.
GPs want the Area Health Service to pay for their medical cover.
Then it's a cost that some of the doctors don't have to bear, and they're more likely, it's going to be more viable for them to stay on the hospital system.
8 GPs have resigned from the roster at Shellharbour, leaving the remaining 8 doctors to provide the hospital's on-call service. There are fears they too will pull out, placing the service in doubt. Jodie Duffy, Prime News.
A partial victory tonight for Stanwell Park residents fighting sewage pollution in waterways in their suburb. They've managed to extract guarantees from Wollongong Council that it will begin a full investigation of the problem and report back to them within 4 weeks.
Residents at Stanwell Park are mobilising against what they say is an ever-increasing threat of disease from sewage pollution in the village's main creek. Hundreds have met to claim authorities are either passing the buck or issuing hollow promises.
So that the system being provided is inadequate. From what I can understand, any solutions council can offer will only be band-aid measures.
And you've got 2,000 games coming in, you're going to have all them tourists jumping in this lagoon and getting sick. It's going to be image as well.
The park is one of the largest residential areas outside Sydney without sewerage. Residents rely on pump-out septic tanks. They're overflowing and polluting Hargraves Creek. And there's the additional problem of illegal dumping. Council says it can offer short-term solutions, increasing the regularity of pump-out services, getting tougher with illegal polluters and placing a moratorium on development. The Water Board says it doesn't have the money to sewer the area.
I'm prepared to take it back to our organisation, take it back to the government pricing tribunal, because they're the ones that set the prices for us. We don't set our own prices for the water or wastewater. Take it back and attempt to put it through on that sort of basis.
Council's Health and Building Services Department is preparing a report on the matter. Brenda Cunningham, Prime News.
Primary school children throughout New South Wales are likely to be offered subsidised milk following the success of a pilot program underway in Wollongong. The program was launched several weeks ago with chilled milk selling for 40 cents for 250 millilitres or 60 cents for flavoured milk, the aim to improve calcium levels in young girls. In the first week, 12,000 cartons were sold, the second 18,000. Agriculture Minister Ian Causley has told State Parliament if the acceptance rate is maintained, the program will be expanded statewide 20 years after milk was officially withdrawn from schools. We'll take a break. When we return, the Metropolitan Colliery dispute goes into private conference and puppets helping school children cope with friends with cancer. Illawarra metal trades workers seem set to gain pay rises over the next 12 months following agreement over new work classifications. Metal workers have held a meeting at the Fraternity Club at Fairy Meadow where they've approved a new set of on-the-job training standards, the result of 4 years' negotiations with employers. Unions say the standards will allow employees to be reclassified on the basis of on-the-job training. The standards will come into effect in July. The Metropolitan Colliery dispute's going behind closed doors tonight as unions and the company try to resolve the impasse over the employment of 7 workers. The parties are negotiating before the local coal authority in a bid to avert a dispute which could trigger a district-wide strike.
United Mine Workers Union officials and some of the miners under threat met with Metropolitan Colliery managers before the local coal authority this morning. A meeting ordered by the Coal Tribunal to try to resolve a dispute which began last week when the company sent letters to 7 miners demanding they resign or 70 of their workmates will be sacked. Some of the men have worked at the mine for more than 2 decades. Each have been offered a $28,000 payout. The Coal Industry Tribunal has ordered the company not to sack anybody for 6 days and has ordered both parties to resolve the matter in private conference. There'll be no media comments made. The meetings will be held in Sydney at a neutral venue. They'll report to the Coal Industry Tribunal on Tuesday. Jodie Duffy, Prime News.
A boost for Illawarra bushfire services tonight with a $25,000 donation from BHP employees. BHP Collieries Group General Manager Malcolm Burns has made the presentation at Wollongong Bushfire Control at Bulli. The donation part of $200,000 pledged by the company during last month's bushfire emergency. Cheques have been handed to Wollongong Controller Warren Robinson and Wollondilly Chief Jack Wilton. The money will be spent improving bushfire fighting equipment in Wollongong and Wollondilly Council. Kids and cancer. That's the theme of a life-size puppet show currently delivering a sobering message to Illawarra school kids about the disease. The touring camp quality program aims to make children more understanding of their classmates suffering from the illness.
Is your hair falling out, Kylie?
Yes, it's all gone now. See?
Yeah.
They say it's because the medicine I have to use to kill the cancer cells is so strong. It kills some of my good cells too.
Hand puppet Kylie represents a child who has lost her hair while undergoing treatment for leukemia, while Matthew's had his right leg amputated to stop a spreading bone tumour. 2 difficult situations for healthy school kids to cope with. The puppet show aims to create empathy for the sufferers by dispelling disturbing myths about the disease.
Children thinking they can catch cancer, not wanting to play with them or sit near them at school, not understanding that the kids can do most of the things they used to be able to do, and that's caused some problems in the past.
The schools visited on tour all include cancer sufferers or bone marrow donors, raising a lot of questions about the illness.
If you get cancer once and it goes away, that's called remission. Okay? It means all the cancer cells in the body have gone.
Children are taught that cancer's not contagious and that school friends can still play with kids recovering from leukemia. The Camp Quality Show continues its visit to local schools tomorrow. There'll be a shot in the arm for tourism on the South Coast next March when 2,000 cyclists compete in the New South Wales Big Bike Ride to raise money for charity. The starter's gun for the prestigious event will sound at Bundanoon. Cyclists will pass through Bowral, Kiama, the Kangaroo Valley and Nowra, ending the week-long trek in Ulladulla. The South Coast has won the bid over several other regions. Cyclists from all over Australia will soak in the natural beauty of the Southern Highlands before winding their way down through the rainforest to Kiama. Cyclists raising money for multiple sclerosis research. A Woonona newlywed is on top of the world tonight after being named Port Kembla Quota Club's Bride of the Year. Angela Hill took the prestigious title from 30 other contestants.
For the blushing brides, it's a chance to relive their special day, walking down the aisle again in front of hundreds of adoring onlookers before packing away their gowns for good. The 24th annual Quota Club Bride of the Year has attracted 31 newlyweds, with the dresses ranging from traditional to the unusual, and there's even a fairy tale gown. The brides are judged on their personal presentation, deportment and style of the gown, Angela Hill from Woonona has been named Bride of the Year, her Tulle and Saturn creation the judges' favourite. Runner-up is Joanne Mortimer and Alyssa Swan from Tamworth is third. Organisers say this has been one of the most successful contests and they expect to raise more than $2,000 for Canteen. For those planning on tying the knot in the near future, there's always next year. Anita Baltovska, Prime News.
And congratulations. Milton's up now with sport.
Thanks, Kerryn. Good evening. Right after the break, some great sporting action, including a preview of tonight's rich Supercoat Greyhound Classic and Shannon Taylor's fantastic left hook. Good evening. In a little under 2 hours, one of the richest greyhound races in Australia will be staged at Dapto. The $100,000 Supercoat Pet Care Classics drawn a class field. Golden Currency is race favourite at 5-4.
Race favourite Golden Currency's had a quiet day. His trainer Kevin Muggovan resting the lean champion before tonight's rich Supercoat Pet Care Classic at Dapto Showground. At odds of 5-4, Muggovan is confident his dog will be the standout.
So far so good, so I'm just keeping my fingers crossed and, you know, it's there for him to win and I think he's good enough to go on with it.
Golden Currency's been racing for only 8 months, but already he's got the marks of a champion, winning 16 races from 22 starts. But Muggovan says the sprinter's just starting.
He's just probably starting to peak now. He's at 2.5 years of age when they really sort of mature and, you know, probably now till he's the next 6 months he really should excel the dog, yeah, bar no accidents.
If Golden Currency manages to get a good jump from the boxes and pips them at the post, he'll earn his owners more than $100,000. The race gets underway at Dapto Showground at 8:30. Anita Baltovska, Prime News.
Be warned, Shannon Taylor is back to his devastating best. A frightening left hook has handed the Australian junior light welterweight champion another success. A knockout of Fiji's Peter Tabuara in just 40 seconds. This sensational punch sent the lanky lightweight straight to the canvas. Initial fears were that the Fijian had suffered a serious head injury. We warned some viewers may find parts of this report distressing.
The Bulleye Blaster is so far undefeated in the professional ranks and is determined to fight for a world title later this year. But standing between him and a chance at the ultimate goal is Fiji's Peter Tambuarua, weighing in at 64 kilograms. The lanky Fijian came into the fight as the South Seas lightweight champion with a record of 12 professional fights, 11 wins and 1 loss. Little did he know his record would get worse very quickly. Taylor came into the fight claiming he was more relaxed and better prepared after a disastrous year in 1993 when he broke his hand. It took him only 40 seconds to prove it. The ferocious left hook sent the Fijian reeling. Tambuarua hitting his head on the edge of the ring, the impact knocking him unconscious. The referee and other officials rushed to help Tambuarua. There were grave fears the boxer had suffered a serious injury in the fall. But after nearly a minute of frantic worry, Tambuarua regained consciousness. He was helped to his corner, the boxer struggling to walk. But for the victor, the left hook was sweet.
I was willing to go 10 rounds tonight and show you all boxing skill, and that's what happens when you use boxing skill instead of trying to bully your opponents around.
The Fijian has been cleared of all serious injury. He's suffering from concussion and headaches. While he may not remember the punch, the crowd sure will, and some may be wondering whether it's the sign of greater things to come.
It's good for tonight's crowd, there's no doubt about that.
Nick Pedley, Prime News.
What a punch. Barrack Heights athlete Kylie Hannigan is back home following her brilliant performance at the Australian National Athletic Championships at